Welcome to Clear Minds Podcast. My name is Carlo, and today we're doing part 2 of character defects. I'm joined today with Brian. Brian, thank you for coming on again.
Yes, my pleasure.
Thank you. If you guys aren't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoy it, please like the video. Today we're going to talk about how unresolved flaws like pride, envy, and control affect our daily lives, relationships, and inner peace. Because you can't change what you can't name.
Okay.
All right, Brian, when you hear the word defect, what comes to mind?
Something not working.
Something not working.
Something not working. Defect. It's faulty. Something shortage. It's missing something. Need to. That's what comes to mind when it comes to defect. Defect is um it's a negative thing. If and you have to try to find out what the defects is and move on and try to get them fix them. So that's what comes to mind is it doesn't work.
Okay, defect, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Okay. Can you remember a moment when you realized something in your personality was getting in your way? What was that like?
Well, just being who I was, and then to have other things remove my personality, as in being dishonest, not saying what I mean and meaning what I say. So, but now I mean what I mean, say what I mean and mean what I say. So, personality, I'm pleased with the personality today. Um, I'm very pleased with it, and not only is I'm pleased with it, most of the people that is in my circle now to this day is pleased with it as well. So my personality, I would say, is outgoing and soft spoken, but unless needed to be. But other than that, I think I'm a very outgoing person, listening and things like that. So.
Good deal. Do you think most people are aware of their personal defects?
No, most people are not aware of them. For me, I wasn't aware of mine until I came to um, this journey I've been on to understand that there was these things was a part of the um, thing that the livelihood that we live it by, and then to have them. One doesn't know their own personal character defects. You hear a lot of people say, "I want to work on myself."
Do you think we bury them under labels like, that's just who I am?
Yeah, it's a excuse. It's the number one excuse. They're just who I am. I just the way I am. A better choice of words. Most interactions are they're just a better. That's just the way I am. Um, so but like I said, you don't really when you say that that you're basically numbing it up in a nutshell. That's point blank. That's the way I am. But for me, for most daily people or things, most people point them out in others. But most people don't see it, but others see it in them, or they choose to say that's a defect. Um, so I really couldn't answer that one way or another. So.
All right, now we're going to take a little deep dive and let's talk about pride. Have you seen pride sabotage a relationship or a career? And if so, how did that show up?
Mm, I don't want to use the word pride. Well, I would say this in the profession and things that I have been in my lifetime, I went hard in the paint with
Mhm.
my work showed my thing. I wasn't boastful in my own uh, mindset. It's just my work that it showed. But I'll do all of that and then to go to the wayside of doing other things. Um, More shame came with that. The capability to be accomplish and doing all of these things, and then to just throw it all away. Yeah, I would say more shame than anything. But
So you never had pride get in the way of a relationship or maybe a job.
no, drugs and alcohol got in the way of my
Okay.
mind. Just point blank. That's what got in the way of mine. Before doing all of them things, I was the person that he made me to be. I recognize that, and other people around me recognize that. Now, Just to answer your question, I just was aware today was my 1 year of being at this job.
Congratulations.
Today,
That's amazing.
yeah, not just going, just showing, just doing the right thing and not thinking about it. Things shall pass. So uh, I'm only acknowledging that because it was acknowledged to me. That's the only reason why I'm acknowledging it now, because it was brought to my attention. But me going in prior thinking that, oh, I'm getting a 1 year and all of these things never crossed my mind.
That's
So
amazing.
if it wasn't brought to my attention today, I wouldn't be sharing it with you today. Because I don't go for that, because back in the days I was hired one day and didn't show up and then fired the next day. So that goes to show you what this too shall pass. So just doing the right thing and just moving forward. No pride or no none of that. Just day by day, one day at a time, minute by minute. You know, because tomorrow I can go in and say I don't need you no more. But I know to have the tools and the mindset and the will and the courage to understand to know that I can't just settle there. I got to keep moving. So
That's amazing.
yes,
I'm glad I get to share this that moment with you.
thank you.
Control is a big one. What happens when our need to control becomes the defect that controls us?
Well, when we get in the mindset that we want to control the situation, it backfires. It's like a car that it just backfires. The person that you or people or whom the surroundings or whatever situation you try to control at that point in time, it can cause a vendetta or cause a camaraderie of people to go against you, and you be on the outside looking in. So with that, I just try not to go with the mindset of try to control. I try to suggest, just try to do some suggestion. And I'm a true believer. Some of us are in life are farther along than others. Some of us are still making our way, and you have to meet people where they at in some situation. But for as me, I can control my own self. It's a daily reprieve to control my own self. Sometimes I notice I have to control what I say. I have to pause for the cause. Sometimes free of speech is not so freely. Sometimes there's action behind what you say. So sometimes I had to take a step back and evaluate the situation before I speak. And that's the only thing I try to control or want to control today.
I heard somewhere today that um, control, telling some, being controlling is making a demand on someone, um, having an expectation on someone is putting a demand on them. How do you feel about that?
Well, that goes without saying, because the longest you live, you're gonna have that. I think we summed it up. It's not who we are, it's what we do.
Going back to yesterday's
Yeah.
episode.
So I think in all the because one day it can be this way. And then tomorrow there's a blueprint saying it's got to change. So do you go into that thinking, do that mindset that person's all them people are trying to control me? I don't think so. I think that's just the way life is, and just the way it is. But if you take it as a power trip or a power move or ego thing, then I think it gets in the way of what you're trying to do for him. But if you're just taking it, it's just that is needed at that particular time. I think everything goes well. But when you take it or a person uses it as a power trip, because they have no voice nowhere else. It's all it. Sorry about that.
Okay.
It goes without saying. So, you know, just take leadership in in account. Obedience to leadership is what we're supposed to live by. Point blank. That's in the book that I choose to read the Bible. Anyone that's over you, that you should be obeying and honor. Would
That's
you?
where you believe. That's
That's
where.
what I believe. So if you but you also got to realize, if somebody's in control, or want to call themselves in control, you got to really evaluate and think about the situation. Are they really in control?
Well, do the person who's trying to control the situation say I'm in control, or do they just try to control?
It goes both ways. It all depends on how you take it. If one minds take it that a person's trying to control, then that person's winning. Point blank. If I go in a situation
So it's a
thinking,
game.
well, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a game, but I'm just saying if you go in the mindset instead of taking it, listening at the message from the messenger, then listening at the message and taking it from the messenger, then maybe things will go turn for the better. But if you're just taking it from the messenger and not listen to the message, then things don't work out so well. See, that's the way I used to be. I used to turn a blind eye to things. I used to turn a blind eye, open an eye to things that didn't matter, that did matter, and a blind eye to things that did. If that makes any sense, family, jobs, taking care of myself. I turned a blind eye to things that matter. And when the messenger or the people that was trying to help me or whatever, I was listening to who was bringing the message and what the message was. So now I don't worry about who's saying what. All I know if it's going to benefit or if it's not. That's the mindset that I choose to use today. Not by no control tip, but things in that range because I'm different. I try to go as being different. I try to being uh, want to be like another person or try to do the same as other people. Try not to do that today. Very hardly, very. I try not to do. I try to be different, but I do listen to the message, not where the message is coming from. Because you know, if you was standing there on your phone somewhere and someone was yelling, "Get out the road," would you? If a person's mindset, oh, he's trying to tell me what to do, but now he's trying to save your life. So you listen to the message, not the messenger.
Okay, I hear. So now we're talking about the psychology of defects. What role does denial and shame play in keeping our defects hidden from others or even ourselves?
It plays a big role. I was ashamed that I was alcoholic and I was a drug, and then all these defects and things I had, want to isolate, do all of these things, all this stuff. Now I'm lucky to go lovely. I'm lovely. I'm 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 walking with my head up, my chin head up high, knowing that I don't have to look over my back, knowing I haven't caused any havoc, I did anything, and all of these things. It's a pleasant feeling to be able to do that. It's a very humbling experience for me. Like I say, I turn an open eye to things that do matter today, not and close a blind eye to things that doesn't. So what goes on around me doesn't pertain to me. I keep my I focus on what's going on in front of me, and I don't look to the right or to the left because then we get distracted and then we fall to the wayside while the other things are keep moving on. So for me, looking for your question, I just keep just try to live every day, not perfect, but try to just make it without uh, being isolated, without doing all of these character defects. Now, what's the word? It's not who we are. It's what we do. So I try not to do what we do.
But going back to what you're saying, it's not who we are; it's what we do. That's just, I think, what it means there is it's defining. It's not defining who we are, but it defines what we do, and it's def, uh, defining a behavior, and a behavior is, would you say, controllable?
Well, you got to also realize this is just not came out just today. This been around since a long time, from knee high from a duck till up until you leave this world. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. You grow up with it. You want something as a kid, and mama tell you no. Then you get in the corner and you pout and you do all these things. That stuff will go away. Now, did you did anything you put in your body or do all these things to cause that reaction that you couldn't get what you want happen? No, just what we do. We do it some point in time we have to grow up. Just fortunate for me, it took me these 18 or 19 months to get back to where I was before I started drinking and drugs. Just point blank. And I had it's no sugarcoating, it's no it's gotta go hard with it because I went hard when I was out there doing ill will things to other people. And then I had no control. I had no um I wasn't worried about character defects or causes and effects or anything. I wasn't thinking about none of that stuff. Now to do now, I just know that as long as I'm not doing that in my life, the rest will follow. But one thing I do know, I can't play two sides. I can't play on both sides on both teams. I can't be the person I am today or try to be the person I am and then jump over there, the person that I'm interact with and be that same person on the other side. That it doesn't work. So what that person or whatever that person had assumed or thinking at that point in time, I just have to give him he or she that and move on. I can't lose sleep or worry myself about what somebody else or what actions that they think or perceive of me. Because if for me, long as I do not have to look over my back and look over my shoulders or knowing that I know that freedom of speech is really not so freely, and I have that in the front brain, I think I'm okay. But for them defects, I mean, it's a job. But before it's a job, if do we really work on these things without knowingly? Because I interact with people all through the day that doesn't have or doesn't use or doesn't. Or let me rephrase that. I don't see these things in other people. Reason why I don't see these things in other people. The number one reason why I don't see these things in other people, because I'm not looking for them. That's just the bottom line. And that's the honest to God truth answer. I'm not looking for no wrong or no things in anybody. Because when I set myself out to do that, then I'm distracted what I need to be doing for myself.
I think, and I think that goes back to judgment, and I hope you don't judge. We all, or at least I know I make some judgments sometimes, and sometimes um, they're called for and sometimes they're not. But what about looking within, though? I know you're saying you don't see them in other people, or you choose to don't see them in other people. What about when you're looking within?
Well, when I'm looking within, sometimes I do. Sometimes I feel like I'm being a little too outgoing or too outspoken in certain situations, and I feel like sometimes you know as I everybody at some point or in their life, even for me because I had that done to me. See, this is not it was caught. I wasn't it wasn't taught. I heard this over and time and time and time. Why don't you just stop? Why don't you just do this? Why don't you just
Why were people saying that?
so why? Because it was needed. I didn't question it. I just didn't do it at the time. It was needed. So when I play the tape over and over and over, when I listened to all of that, people around me in my circle wanted me to stop doing all of these things, and I let them down. All of these things. And so when I get to a point where I'm standing on my own 2 feet to do better for myself and this and that, I just like the people around me to be doing better as well. Just this point, but because I took that message that I the heritage of where I came from, the title that I carry is in my name or the people's names and things like that. I let them down. So now moving forward, just mindset. It's now moving forward that the circle that I'm with or I'm around or wherever present, I just want them to just be or try to be all they can be at a point in time when it's needed. Just it's playing basketball, you got 11 players or 12 players on a team, and you go to practice all week. But at the end of the day, the coach make a call to put the best 5 players in the game. Not the rest of you on the team, but there's a reason why he put the best 5 players that he thinks are the best 5 players in the game because they all bring something to the table. They all strive. If one fail, they pick one up. That's just the way I am today. I'll try to go by today life.
So do you think he picks those players through off of skill and who you see? So is that maybe that's a different type of
If we had a contest for drinking and drugging, I'd probably be picked in number one, of number two and number
18
three.
months ago?
18 months ago. Seriously, and that's a real serious question. And I'm not ashamed to say these things or nothing like that, but it's the real deal. I would probably be picked in it because I did it to the best of my ability until it wasn't the best of my ability anymore. So moving forward, I try to do what I came here to do to the best of my ability, not being perfect. I just mean If I came here to stand on my own 2 feet and to carry myself and to take care of myself, something I should have been doing way a long time ago, I just stand on that today. But I never know where I'm gonna end up or where I'm going from on this journey. I don't. I don't know where it might take me, but I do know wherever I do go or wherever I go, I want to carry what I learned or what I caught on the way. That's just the bottom line. From where you came from, or wherever you trying to from where you're trying to go, there's a reason why it's where you came from, and there's a reason why it's called where you're trying to go. You don't want to come from the same from the place, go in the same way. It doesn't make sense
Mhm.
for me, for I.
I also heard today, it's called the present because today is a gift.
Right,
So
right,
just for
right,
today.
right. Just for today.
Have you ever had someone lovingly confront you about a defect, and how did you respond?
This is probably gonna get most of this stuff. Probably gonna get off topic. No one ever called come to. Well, let's just put it this way: if anyone came to me, I was uncoherent to understand what they was even talking about 18 months ago. The
Mm-hmm.
only defect that I knew about 18 months ago that I had a drinking alcohol problem. When I went to treatment and went to sign them papers to go in there and seek help, I didn't go in there talking about no character defects or anything like that. I went there to see what the alcohol problem was, what caused me to do these drugs, and all of these things. Just being real. So, in my life of growing up or coming through, whatever, no one ever pointed anything out to me in that nature. Probably the reason why I can probably speak on a little bit of that. It's probably because I didn't see it no more than I wasn't that person without drinking and drugging. I'm a
So,
different person drinking and drugging.
like you mentioned earlier, in those days that you're talking about, you probably wouldn't have been able to recognize or recall that, anyways. But how about after sobriety?
Well, well, it's not. I wouldn't say it's after sobriety because I'm still in
During
sobriety.
sobriety?
I'm still sobriety. I never, ain't no stopping doing sobriety. But I just feel. For me, I didn't cry when I was doing drinking and drugs. Did you understand what I just said?
Hmm.
I didn't cry when I was doing drinking and drugs. I cried after I was doing. As long as I was doing them, I was fine. I'm in recovery. I'm not crying in recovery. I'm not. That's what I come for. That's what I came for. I was crying, knowing that I shouldn't have been doing these things.
Like crying for help?
Not necessarily crying for help. I was crying because of shame and guilt because I couldn't stop, and this is what was going on in my life. So I went from, but not when I was consuming, not when it was in front of me and all of these things, but after they was gone. Don't want to come outside. Don't want to be seen. Don't want to do all these things. Now I'm
Now we'll discuss change, growth, and hope.
okay.
How do you build relationships that support growth rather than reinforce our blind spots?
Meaning what type of relationship? Work relationship, spouse relationship, all the above.
All of the above.
Um, just being the person that I'm supposed to be. No more, no less. No putting on a persona to make one this way or that way. Just being a righteous, or try to be a righteous human being, and just stand on what I mean and mean what I say, and just not to be um, sassy with it. Just be straightforward and just be. Most people like. I speak from my side of point of view. I used to did not. I used to did dislike when a person really speaks their mind and things like that. Back in my comment or out in my thing, it hit below the belt. But then when I look back on it, it was needed. So to move forward, to look inward, or I have skin like thick wool today, and I just go with it, and um, I can't project or what happens, from there. I just try to with relationship, uh, in relationships today. If I make relationship or find relationships, I'm fine with it, and if I don't, I'm fine with it. So I'm 50-50. But if I do know, if I do interact with a relationship, uh, for a spouse, um, I'm not gonna put on a show or put on a persona. I'm just gonna either accept me for what I am or who I am, and I do vice versa. But I
Is
do know going.
just, I don't mean to cut you off, but just um, that what you said, don't put on persona, I am who I am. Going back earlier, um, to in the beginning, one of the questions was, is a character defect something that is real or something put under the disguise of that's just who I am?
Well, it all depends on what point of view you're coming from with it. When you consuming something and putting things in your body, it brings out the worst in you. This it did for me, but I'm not doing that today. I'm pleased with who I am today, and for anyone to in my circle or to in my space, um, they have a choice. We all have a choice. They can either accept it or not. Now, it's no vendetta or no. This is the way it's going to be. It's just that I'm just not in certain businesses.
So, free from the substances, are there behaviors that still go on, or do they fall off after substances are no longer introduced to the body?
Well, I ain't gonna say they immediately fall off. They got to be worked on. But I do
How do you
sit.
work on that?
Well, how you work on them? How do I work on them? If sometimes I think and I lay and I think about some of the interactions or some of the things maybe I go through in a daily basis. Sometimes I think that um, I'm not in I'm not in a certain type of business, and when I mean I'm not in a certain type of business, it's just that I have to mean and stand on what I mean today. I didn't when I was in my addiction and stuff. That goes back to your question about relationship. I work Monday through Friday, and they say, "Well, we need you Saturday," and I don't show up till Monday, and I committed to coming. Today I commit. They ask me, and I come willingly. I'm not doing that for a persona. I'm doing it because I stand on it. I mean it. That's a good relationship to have in a work environment, in a spouse environment. I just feel today, if God has it, whenever that time comes, is that I just go into a situation with no expectation. I'm not gonna go in it. I'm just gonna go in it with no expectation. That way, I'm not hurt. I'm not disappointed, and then hopefully with the person that I interact with have the same views. If it has it, but if not, then we'll try to work on situations. But for me, mostly, I just try to go in with no expectation. Because with even with friends or with peers or things like that, we all have different points of views of things. For me, I'm just positive. I try to stay positive. Just surrounded with so much negativity, man, and so much things going on, and so many people like to talk about stuff that doesn't matter and all of these things. That's their thing, but it's not mine.
And when you say no expectations in the relationship, do you mean um, like, because I would go into a relationship with expectations of myself that I would be loyal, I would be um, you know open, I would be um, work on a communicator, like
Yeah,
other expectations.
yes, and that you should. I went in this. I went into this treatment place with expectations, mission, not impossible, mission, possible. That's why I'm here today to be among you. That was my mission, and it was possible. For it's a relationship, I'm not gonna go. I don't. I'm not gonna have thinking about what I'm gonna bring to the table and what all I can do and all these things because once some things are not met and once I don't hold up to my end of the bargain, then it doesn't work out. Of course, with the mindset, you already want to do all that, but having to speak that and say them things, you don't have. I don't feel like you have to.
So an expectation of honesty.
Yeah, I mean, with that going into situation, you want to do that first and foremost. That's a no brainer. That's what 99% of the people in this world want. So with that, that has to be written down or brought to the table. That's just automatic. That's automatic. Now, what comes out of that when the things doesn't happen is out of control. But once it's you didn't mean or say what you mean and mean what you say because you said it. Just do it. So a lot of things we go around here, we want to talk and we want to say. I could talk a good game. I could say all of these things, but if I don't put the foot to the pavement or then do all of these things and put in like I did in my addiction, then I'm just talking, just blowing smoke. I feel like if I'm gonna speak about it, I gotta be about it. So if I'm in a relationship, it's just I go back to work. I should have been, I go up to a job with just to go do my job, no more, no less. That's just point blank. No try to go over and beyond or anything. Just mediocre and just do what I need to do. And then in the end, if things don't go right or things something happen, I know that I wasn't out there drinking and drugging to cause these things to happen. My thing, my problems, my thing was drug and alcohol. Work ethic, all of these things, I do. I have. I can do these things. But when I consume them things that brings me down below where I don't need to go, then relationships goes out the window. So for me having a relationship and things like that, um, I really don't think about it. Really don't think about it because I came here for a mission to work on myself, and that's why I'm here to work on myself. And I got a lot of work to do. I will say that, but I just, it's the reason why I ain't been in a relationship. I don't question it.
Is it possible to fully overcome a defect, or is it more about living with it and managing it?
I really wouldn't know what the. I mean, I'm not going to spend all of my life working on working. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life that I have on Earth to please somebody else. I mean, I'm just being real. I mean, if I
Who and who pleasing who? Because this is for
it's pleasing, I'm pleasing myself. That's the reason why I'm here. I came here. I used to put other people first and me second. I don't do that today. So I just
people pleasing.
people pleasing.
That's a character defect.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But
So
you're saying you don't do that today.
no, I don't do that today.
So was that fully overcome?
Yeah, to my understanding, yes, it's fully undercome to the 150%.
So would you say that's the answer to the question?
I would say that I answered that question. I answered that question.
Okay. All right. Now we'll, Brian. Thank you again for being on this second part of character defects. Congratulations on 18 months and 1 year at the job. That's
19
amazing.
months.
19 months and a year at the job. It's amazing. I'm glad I get to share the experience with you.
You might need to cut that one.
And what do you hope people walk away with after leaving this conversation, especially who feel broken or defective themselves?
It's okay. It's ways and means and ways to overcome or to try to get oneself back on track. Um, it takes progress and it takes practice. Um, you know, don't beat yourself up over relationships because a spouse relationship, um, doesn't put Benjamin Franklin's in your pocket. But a job relationship, that's the way you got to live. So if you're having problems with job, and things like that, just try to, look at the overall picture. That's the way you live and things like that. And then, in any other type of relationships or with dealing with alcohol and drugs and all of those things, there's ways to seek help and try to work on them things. You know, I
Amazing.
would,
Amazing. Thank you. All right. Thank you for joining. And like I said, if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe and join us next time for part 3.
you had to edit that. I don't like that.